So we're looking at the digital side of social assistance. So in terms of how people get their payments, we're asking questions about how they get their payments. Um, since most of them get either cash payments or support those who get cash payments, how do they get their digital cash payments? What are the challenges in terms of using digital tools? But apart from that, we're also focusing on the digital rights aspect of the work, which is data privacy, their knowledge of data privacy, their knowledge of what the data is being used for. And so those are some of the questions we're asking. From about 2015, digital played a major role in even the elections. So I can imagine that with the mobile phone penetration in Nigeria, it only made sense that any form of assistance that was being given had to be digital in some form or the other. And it was also the only way to root out corruption and remove middlemen and middlewomen from the whole process. If you do not respect rights, which is basically about dignity, right? So you have a scenario where you're giving someone assistance, but then you're taking their data and somebody abuses or uses that data the wrong way. What you've done is you've helped them, but you've also hurt them. And so the idea of digital rights is to make sure that we don't create another problem while solving assistance problems. Data is literally their existence. If someone takes that data and uses it the wrong way, they will be worse off than they were before we even gave them the assistance. So that's the whole concept of dignity, of rights, of making sure that we don't create a new problem while trying to solve that. So a few days ago, what we presented was the sort of the raw data from the first phase of the research. We're going back into the second phase now to sort of drill down on some of the questions that were answered and to check, just to be sure that what we thought we heard was what we really heard. I think the first challenge, which thankfully was easy for us to solve, the first challenge would have been language, because we then had to translate these research questions, which are technical, into Hausa. But thankfully, I mean, our team is diverse and we have team members from all of the regions of Nigeria. So that wasn't a problem, but that would have been a challenge. The other thing that could have been a challenge is sort of the cultural context, where you typically have male researchers, but they can't access female, households with females, but that's easy because our research team, myself and our other team member, Amina, who is not just from the region, but is also a woman. So setting up a research team to support us was also, we had a man from the academic community and a woman from the non-profit community. And so that sort of solved those challenges. We were also concerned about people sort of opening up and sharing information. There are people who have received assistance from government, some from non-profits, and some from both. And I was a bit concerned, will people want to admit on the record that they've received assistance from both government and non-profits? But surprisingly, they did. Our assumption was maybe they'll be scared that if they told someone we're getting assistance, then it would stop. But they've been, because the community entry for us was much easier. We work in this region of Nigeria already anyway, so there's some form of trust. And those that we're working with are also people who work and live within the community. It's exciting to see how people, so first of all, the adoption of mobile phones. We know, already the national average is pretty high in terms of, people who use mobile phones, but the people who have gone out of their way to also share devices, it's about 11% of people who share devices. 100% say that even though they have to go through hurdles to get SIM cards, to register, to link, they don't care. They will go through it and eventually so they can get assistance. We're just looking at the data in terms of the desegregation, men and women, people who received assistance from government or NGOs or all of those combined. But what we're seeing is clearly a case of preference for cash over non-cash goods, either firm supplies or food items. People definitely prefer cash. And it just so happens at the time of the interviews also coincided with a time when Nigeria changes currency, when cash itself was scarce. And so you can imagine that people will have a preference for something that is seen as better, and it's also in a way scarce. We hope it will inform, policy design, so that when either this has been expanded or government is implementing this at all levels, the numbers will speak for itself. So if people think that there are hurdles in terms of mobile phone registration and things like that, in terms of presenting their data, there's also the challenge of people having to give up biometric information. More than 54% had to give up biometric information, and they have no idea. 100% have no idea where it's going, who's been, okay, well, only one person out of the entire sample size said that they think they know, but eventually when we ask them questions, they actually know, who was going to use it. So I think it's important for, this thing to be, built into the design. Let people become aware of what is going on, who's going to use your data, how long is it going to be kept for, what happens if someone abuses the use of your data, what can you seek redress. So we hope this informs a redesign of the implementation process. So the key message of our research is that while social assistance is important, it is also important to respect the dignity of the people who are receiving this assistance. So either you're thinking of their privacy rights, or you're thinking of the use of their data, or you're thinking of data minimization in terms of collecting only the data you need. Why collect biometric information, iris scan, fingerprints, when they already have legal IDs? That's what we hope this research will point to.